Space Jam: A New Legacy is all about LeBron James. It's supposed to take place in the real world near Warner Brothers headquarters in Burbank, California. LeBron James finds himself at odds with his son, Dom, who has taken a liking to things beyond basketball. In this case, it's video games. Dom has a talent in programming and wants to attend an E3 gaming camp rather than go to basketball camp next weekend, thus creating a little bit of conflict. And all the while, an algorithm within Warner Brothers, known as Algorithm in the movie, played by Cheadle, wants to bring in LeBron James as the face of Warner Brothers Entertainment. They pitch LeBron the idea, LeBron calls the idea horrible, and Algorithm takes it personally. So, as recompense, he absorbs LeBron and his son Dom into his algorithm. In order to get out of the algorithm, LeBron James has to beat him in a game of basketball, otherwise they're stuck in the algorithm forever. LeBron has to be banished into the world of the Looney Tunes to team up with Bugs Bunny and form a team that can take on Algorithm and his goon squad. And there we have our movie. My overall thoughts on the movie, I would say that this is a mediocre movie overall. However, I did find enjoyment within it. The best way to describe it would be a movie that you take a younger brother, sister, niece, nephew, your own kids, and just go and look for a good time for them. There are plenty of references within the movie that will no doubt appeal to a more adult audience, which is why I say it's fun for the whole family. Let's start off with the cons. What didn't I really like about this movie? Playing off with the cultural references, I think there are way too many pop cultural references in this movie. In fact, there are so many to the point where I kind of got a feeling that it felt like more of a marketing movie by Warner Brothers than anything else. I would say without the pop cultural references, I think this movie would have a hard time standing on its own. If they just stuck with LeBron and him interacting with the Looney Tunes throughout the movie, I think it would have been just fine. Warner Brothers kind of brings in their entire catalog of characters from across all of their different IP into the movie, and it just kind of gets distracting and feels really out of place. For example, at a couple points in this movie, you get crossovers, like I said, from all of Warner Brothers' other titles, including titles that are rated R, and it's a really weird juxtaposition seeing a rated R character in a movie that is definitely geared more towards a younger audience. It's really jarring. And beyond the references, I would think that the dialogue in the movie was pretty poor. It made for the villain having really, really weak motivations and thus making Algorithm a weak villain. That in no way is Cheadle's fault. The dialogue he was given, you can't really work much with that. He used a lot of phrases like, oh snap, which again, I get a kid's movie. The themes throughout the movie were way too familiar and executed in such a way that just didn't really stick for me. The two main themes are, one, being yourself, and also family conflict. For example, in this case, it is father and son being at odds with each other. Both are really positive themes with really positive messages. It's just, like I said, the execution of it just wasn't very strong, and it didn't really make me care much more about the movie. I might be being a little bit too harsh on the movie for this, but there's a couple of points in the movie, I counted 3, where they kind of take a jab at video games as if are lesser for whatever reason, and to me, it's just a really old idea that kind of took me back to the 90s and 2000s, where everyone said, oh my god, video games are bad, they're the devil. And it was really weird because in a world where NBA 2K is a very, very popular basketball game, and this is a movie that surrounds basketball, it felt really weird to take that jab at video games, even though the movie is centered around essentially a video game, and in the real world, an industry that plays off of a video game very well. I just thought that was odd and also really poorly placed. Comes off as old-fashioned and directly contradicts with one of the main messages of the movie. I think the worst part about this movie was the pacing in the second half. In the first half, the movie does a really good job of getting straight to the point and doesn't take too long to get to those meaty parts. However, when you get to the second half, it takes so long to build up to the major points of the film that by the time I got there, I almost didn't even really care because I was just so burnt out from the build-up. It's like it would build up to each like 2 or 3 moments throughout the second half, but it would take a good 20 minutes to get there, and it felt like a lot of time wasting. Like if this movie was an hour and a half rather than an hour 55, I think this would have been an even better movie, but there's just so much unnecessary filler that they had that they could have definitely cut out, and it would have made for a much better experience. Plus, given the genre of the movie, I think an hour and a half would have been a much more appropriate runtime overall. Moving on to what I really liked about this movie, I would say that this movie had a lot of star power behind it, and it can't help but make it more appealing. LeBron James, him being one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Cheadle, Zendaya as Lola Bunny, Gabriel Iglesias as Speedy Gonzalez, Diana Taurasi, Damian Lillard, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Sarah Silverman, Stephen Yen, Ernie Johnson, Lil Rel Howery. Stars in this movie, like I said, the star power alone is intriguing enough for me to at least want to give the movie a look, and it will probably be the case for a lot of you watching this review as well. The thing I really liked about this movie was when the Looney Tunes were on screen. This was a case, I think, of Warner Brothers utilizing their greatest strength from the original Space Jam. When you're transported into the cartoon world of the Looney Tunes in this movie, I think that's where the movie is at its strongest, and it's also a ton of fun to watch. Having said that, what's really unfortunate is that the movie kind of just montages really quickly when you're in the world of Looney Tunes. It's probably the shortest part of the movie, which really sucks, because if this would have been elongated as a substitute for all the filler that they have later on in the movie, I think the movie would have been even better. So I really like the Looney Tunes in the movie, and I wish they would have been in it even more. The amount of cultural references just kind of outweighed it, and I think the movie paid the price for it. Lastly, for the positives, I think the movie actually had quite a few good laughs in it. I came into the movie with pretty low expectations, and I didn't expect to laugh at all. However, I would say that there was probably at least 3 or 4 good jokes that at least got me a chuckle, and there's one that even got me to laugh pretty loudly, and I really enjoyed that. I was pleasantly surprised by the time I left the movie. My final verdict, I would say it's 5 out of 10. It's overall a mediocre movie. However, my friends, it's worth seeing. The overabundance of cultural references makes it feel kind of like a marketing film. The themes were pretty familiar and not executed well. The dialogue was pretty weak. The villain's motivations weren't exactly believable either. Having said that, there are some laughs. There's a lot of star power that generates some really good interest. So the Looney Tunes was excellent, and there's fun to be had within this movie for the entire family. If you're a family with young kids, go ahead and see it. Like I said, won't be totally a film that's very memorable. Friends, so now I ask you, have you seen A Space Jam: A New Legacy? If so, what'd you think of it? You know where the comment section is. Let me know whatever your thoughts are. Alright, my friends, so this has been a Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel movie review, and thanks so much for joining me today. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe at your leisure. It helps out the channel a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Until the very next video, have a great day.